Hello everybody, Colin here with Tech Out. Doing this as a live stream, just in case anybody wants to come on and interact. I just did a live stream updating the BIOS on my Steam Deck directly from Windows without SteamOS. So now I figured I would do and I would show you guys some of the stuff I have on my Windows 11 Steam Deck setup here that is a must-have in my opinion, such as Steam Deck tools. Makes the controllers work great in all kinds of your Windows games, stuff like that. I've tried it as just a Steam controller, and it was just harder to set up. I like just being able to map my controls as a Xbox controller, which is what I usually use in these games on my PC anyway. So it really doesn't change much. So I'm going to show you guys some of the mapping for that, and what I've done, and just how I have my Steam Deck set up. So it's running Windows 11 Pro. I upgraded. This is a 256 gigabyte Steam Deck, but I did upgrade the drive to a 512. I actually have my other drive right here that came in it. I never booted it off that. It was just straight to this. So it's off right now. I'm going to go ahead and boot it up, and I'm just going to show you guys the boot up time. So booting up now. And after this BIOS update, you heard the little Windows chime there, so it just turned on. After this BIOS update, it does seem to boot up a lot quicker. For whatever reason, Windows takes a second on the screen there after it does this little thing, but it doesn't really do the little loading animation in Windows after that BIOS update. So I think that did help a little bit on booting Windows and stuff like that and getting all that kind of stuff going. But I'm going to show you guys Steam Deck tools. So my HDMI, USB-C to HDMI is not working right now, so that's why I'm doing it this way. But hopefully you guys can still see pretty well. So Steam Deck tools consist of 4 different things. You have fan control, performance overlay, power control, and Steam controller. So they're down here in the taskbar. The fan control, Alright, sorry about that. Somebody was at the door. We have the fan controller right here, so I just leave it set to the SteamOS default profile. I don't know if you can like change any of these. Like I don't think it changes. I think it's just I don't think you can create like a new profile or anything. But I just leave it on the SteamOS default profile because that seems to be what it would normally be on anyway. It gives you like your temperatures and your watt, power wattage and stuff like that for usage. Right here is our this is the power control, and it also gives you like everything else in here too, like your on-screen display for your stats and your fan. You can also do all that from here as well. FPS limit, GPU scaling, your volume, your brightness, which you can control that from Windows as well. That works once the drivers are installed. And then your controller right here, so you can set it to Xbox 360 mode or DualShock 4 mode. You can set up your shortcuts. So in desktop mode, I have like my L4 and my L5 are set to shift and backspace, and my R4 and R5 are up and down. Just kind of makes things easier. And then on Xbox 360, I have them set to F10 and F11 for that's just what I use most commonly in the games I play. I'll map stuff to those on a keyboard. So I have those mapped to those buttons on the back, so I don't always need a keyboard. And then R4 is F1 and R5 is return. And then of course you can do your Steam key and your left on your D-pad to go back to hit escape. So that kind of stuff you can still get around in your games without always needing to bring up the keyboard or to have a physical keyboard attached. So that's pretty nice. It says my audio bitrate is low, so I hope you guys can hear me, because my mic is definitely showing up, so I don't know what is going on there. But yeah, so everything works there. That is, like I said, that's the power control. Gives you pretty much everything. And then we have your menu for your on-screen display. You can set up how that works and all that kind of stuff. So that is a must-have on the Steam Deck. That's the first thing I installed. It automatically switches if I open a game. It'll automatically switch to the Xbox controller mode. And then if you hit your menu button up here, you can hold that. So we're in desktop right now. And then I hit it. We're in Xbox mode. Hit it for 1 second again, and you can go to DualShock 4. And then if you hold it for 2 seconds, it'll go back to desktop mode. Most times you don't have to do that. Most of the time it will automatically switch when you open and close your games. So that is great. I don't know if this is a Steam Deck thing or whatnot, but I figured out why this vibrates like it does. And it's trying to imitate a scroll wheel with the haptic feedback. So it's like a double click, kind of like a scroll wheel click would be. And then this one is just your regular smooth trackpad with your click when you actually click on it. So I thought something was wrong with that with this trackpad. It was like wiggling around. But then I tried it with the Steam Deck off, and I realized that that's actually the haptic feedback of like a scroll effect. So good to know. Bunch of other stuff. If you do SteamX, it'll bring up your on-screen keyboard. So if you're ever somewhere you need to type and you don't have a physical one attached, you can do that. I also have it set up in Windows to where when there's no keyboard attached, if I tap a text box, the keyboard will come up as well. I do have a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse attached right now though. So that works pretty well. Again, with the Steam Deck tools, you can, in desktop mode, your right stick becomes your cursor as well as this trackpad. This one scrolls. This scrolls. Right trigger is your left click, and left trigger is your right click. And I believe in Steam Deck tools you can customize that as well. I thought there was somewhere you could, maybe not. But I think you can change that in the Windows mouse settings to make your default. If you want right click to be your left click, you can set that in the mouse settings in Windows anyway, and then that would also reverse those, I'm pretty sure. But for most right-handed people, you're going to want to click with your right hand. So that's why it's backwards like that. If you think about it, it seems backwards, but once you actually use it in person, it's not. So that is that. Everything else is stock on my Steam Deck. I mean, Windows, I did the drivers, obviously, but everything else is pretty much just stock. Got Steam. I've got a couple games here from Steam that I play on my PC, which is my main purpose of this. I don't really have anything else that is different about it with my setup right now. I do want to get a back for it, one of the transparent ones. That I'm probably gonna pick one of those up on Amazon. They've been in and out of stock right now, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pick one of those up here in the next couple days. If you guys have any accessory recommendations, leave them down in the comments. I might also have a company sending me another SSD. I believe they're going to send me another 512, different brand though, so I might swap that out and just do like a performance comparison. This SSD is a PCI Gen 3, which is the same as what comes in it. So I don't think I'm really losing any performance. I also don't know what PCI generation the slot in here supports, if it goes up to Gen 4 or not, or if putting a Gen 4 in here is just going to be limited to Gen 3 anyway. I'm not too sure on that. Let me look real quick and see. Um, yeah, so it looks like um, it comes with a Gen 3 SSD, um, but it looks like it's going to be. It looks like the slot isn't a Gen 4. Um, so it looks like it's probably going to be a Gen 3 slot, which obviously your Gen 4 NVMe drives are backwards compatible with Gen 3, but um, it's not going to be something that you can take full advantage of. Which, I mean, this SSD I got um, is a CyanCon. Their Amazon page claims they're a new brand. Yeah, CyanCon / Haika, I guess is how you might say that, but out of Shenzhen Suka Technology Company Limited. I don't really know. It works. This is just a little handheld gaming thing, so if the drive were to fail, there's nothing important on here. So it's kind of one of those things like, why spend the money on something crazy that you don't really need or not going to be able to take advantage of? Now, I mean, most of the other ones were about the same price. I don't remember what made me go with that one. It might have been the delivery time. The other ones might have been 2 day, and I think this one would get here the same day my Steam Deck got here, because I didn't want to have my Steam Deck sitting here and not be able to use it, and I didn't want to set it up and then switch the SSD and have to set it up again. So I think that's why I did that. Give me 1 second. I'm adding a button to my Stream Deck here so I can switch the camera view a little easier. Okay, maybe not. The program didn't want to open. But yeah, so that's the SSD I got. I also got a portable monitor. It's in the other room right now though. Really, really cool. I'm gonna do a full review on it, but you plug it in. You can plug it in with USB-C to the Steam Deck and just plug in the monitor by itself, and the Steam Deck will power that monitor. And then there's another USB-C for power. So if you plug the monitor into power, then instead of the Steam Deck powering the monitor acts as a pass-through, and that will power the monitor and then charge the Steam Deck. So that's pretty cool. And then there's another USB-C port that is a data port, so you can plug in, like if you have a flash drive, obviously there's only one USB-C on here. So yesterday when I was installing all my stuff, I was actually doing it on the external monitor, and I had my USB-C flash drive plugged into the monitor, which was passing through to the Steam Deck, so I was able to still use my flash drive while having my Steam Deck on an external display. So that's pretty cool. One thing I did notice is I think it's very limited on power doing that though, because when I plugged in my USB-C adapter, like my dongle, the monitor kind of just like power cycled, like it wasn't getting enough power, and the monitor only uses like by itself like 3.44 watts. This is actually the power brick it came with, so I don't know. Let me see. I don't know what the specs on this brick are, other than it's USB-A. Well, I don't think there's any. Oh no, here it is. So obviously using this, it's not going to charge your Steam Deck, I don't think, because this is rated at 0.4 amps at 5 volts. So plugging your monitor into this with your Steam Deck is definitely not going to power your Steam Deck. But the monitor also has HDMI, so if you plug an HDMI device in it, obviously you're going to need an external power source. But if you're using it with your Steam Deck, I would probably just plug in the monitor using your Steam Deck cable, or like an actual USB-C wall adapter that's a higher wattage, because you're not going to get anywhere with that. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'm going to change the case on it. If you guys have any questions, comment it in the comment section, and we can do like a little Q&A. If you guys have any tips you want to share, if you want me to try something out, I'll be on here for a little bit. We can do that kind of stuff. let me go to Amazon real quick, and I can look up some accessories here. All right, so let me see if I can find the. Let's just do this. So this is one of the ones I was looking at right here. I wasn't actually planning on upgrading my Steam Deck at all, and then I was like, well, I want to put Windows on it, and then I was like, well, I want to put Flight Simulator on it, and Flight Simulator's like almost 200 gigs, I think, 100, 200, somewhere in there. It updates a lot, so I need the extra space. And even so, like right now, my storage on here, with just those 4 games, Truck Sim, BeamNG, Flight Sim, and an old version of Roller Coaster Tycoon, which takes up like a gig. I have 207 gigs free out of 476. So the 256 would have been pretty much slammed full right now, and I would have been out of room basically. I wouldn't have been able to fit any more full games on here. So I was like, let me go ahead and just get an SSD or an NVMe drive technically. And I went on here. I looked up exactly what you're looking at right now, and I saw there were 1 terabytes for about $150, $160 in that price range. Inland is a brand a lot of people go with. I believe this is kind of like an in-house brand that is sold at Micro Center. They're sold at Micro Center and Amazon. That's the only 2 places you can get them, it looks like. So I'm pretty sure it's basically like a Micro Center in-house brand. I'm actually pretty sure the seller on this is, that's sold by Micro Center on Amazon anyway. So there's that one. There's the Sabrent Rocket 2230 NVMe 4.0. And then there's the PsionCon. This is the one I bought right here, which is a PCIe 3 Gen 4. And I believe the Steam Deck is a PCIe Gen 2. Let's see. It depends. They have both, but they say there's not much of a difference. Probably passed it. Okay, yeah. So it's either a PCI Gen 3x4 or a PCI Gen 3x2. And they say there's really no impact to gaming performance in their testing. So I guess they just include whatever they could get their hands on. And also, Steam sells all the parts for this thing on iFixit. So I think it's kind of a BS statement that they use socketed modules that are not intended for end user replacement. It's literally eight screws on the back, 3 on the heat shield, and 1 on the SSD, and it's out. And it's anybody, if you can take this piece of plastic off the back, you can swap it out very easily. There's no reason that they really should be telling you that it's not user upgradable. It's dumb stupid. If you're a gamer to the point where you're getting a handheld gaming console like this, you can most likely 99% be able to figure out how to swap the SSD on it with some either no instruction or little instruction. So the 256 NVMe SSD is a little bit slower on read-write speeds than the 512, but they're both the same PCIe speed. 16 gigs of RAM that is shared between the graphics on the APU. So if we go into Task Manager here, I do have mine set to use 4 gigs of video memory. So if we go into performance here, you can see we have like 11.8 on the memory. And I think, does this show dedicated GPU memory? Let's see, scroll down. Dedicated GPU memory, or GPU memory says 10 gigs. And then it's got 4 dedicated, and so it's got 6 shared, 4 dedicated, for a total of about 10. So I don't know. I guess it has its own dedicated. I didn't know this had its own dedicated video memory. So I might actually go back in there and change. Let's see something real quick. We're going to do this right here on the stream. We're going to shut it down. I didn't realize that when I changed that setting. That might actually help to not change that setting. Alright, so we're going to go back into our setup utility here. We're going to go down to advanced, and then our frame buffer size we're going to put back on, let's see, we have 6. Let's put it on 2. So that'll give us like 8. Save, change, and exit. Just want to see what that does real quick. So once that boots back up, we'll take a look at that. So anyway, that is what I'm using. There's one from a company called XPC Technologies that's on here somewhere. I think they had a Kingston for $69. Well, that's only $2 less than what I paid. Let's see. I don't know where the one from XPC went. That might be the Inland one. I think I emailed them to see. No. No, that is International Products. No. It's not. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So that's a 2 terabyte. Yeah, so they got a 2 terabyte for $300, 1 terabyte for $150, and they told me they have a 5. Yeah, they have a 512 for $74, and that's a PCI Gen 4x4. 5,000 read, 4,000 write. Looks like they are a slightly bit faster on the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte, especially on the read. Yeah, the read's a lot faster. Or sorry, the write's a lot faster. The read's slightly faster, but not enough to matter. So I got the Steam Deck fired back up here. Let's see something here with our memory. So we go back into Task Manager and Performance. Let's make this full screen. Alright, so we go to the APU. So now we have 2 gigs dedicated, and we have okay, so we have 2 gigs dedicated, and then 6.9 shared. So that's actually a lot better, because now we have 13.8 total available to Windows. So when the GPU is not needing that shared memory, it looks like it's going to be available to Windows. I don't know how that works exactly, but it's not all being reserved, at least for the GPU now. So you'll get a little bit more system memory, which actually that might help with a couple games I was playing, because I know BeamNG was telling me I was low on memory by like 80%. It was 80% used. So we kind of bumped that up a little bit, and then 8.9 for GPU is probably plenty. That's what my 1080 has, so that should run plenty good on a lot of things. So I'm glad I actually looked at that and changed that back. Let me see. I don't really have anything that's gonna need that video right now, but just good to see that's what that did. So that is what I've done to my Steam Deck. I'm gonna hop off here now and go play some games. But if you guys have any questions, make sure you comment, and I will. I'll definitely leave, or I'll definitely reply to them when I see them. If you guys have any questions or tips and tricks for me, Colin here with Tech Out. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Always have a great day.